So I moved to Italy to do my first master's in big data machine learning. So it's like a circular economy. Honestly, this is my third startup, I believe. 17 to 18 crores of revenue this year. We have introduced rapid charging, which is 12 minutes your vehicle will be fully charged. We partnered with the likes of Zomato, Zepto, Swiggy. Second master's was in Spain.
I feel like signing up for one vehicle myself. Yeah.
We raised $1 million there. I don't want to give my credit card, Aadhaar card to anyone.
Yeah.
How would I expect my customer to give me?
Hello, welcome to another episode of How Did You Make It? On today's episode, we have Mr. Srikanth with us, who's a co-founder for a company called Hala Mobility. In today's episode, we have covered everything under the sun. ఎలక్ట్రిక్ వెహికల్స్ గురించే కాదు, ఎంటర్ప్రెన్యూర్షిప్ గురించి, ఫండింగ్ గురించి, తర్వాత సర్క్యులర్ ఎకానమీ అని చెప్పి శ్రీకాంత్ చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అండ్ వండర్ఫుల్ టర్మ్స్ యూజ్ చేశారు. తర్వాత ఇంపార్టెంట్ అండ్ వండర్ఫుల్ టాపిక్స్ గురించి మాట్లాడారు. నేనైతే భయంకరమైన రేషియోలోనే నాలెడ్జ్ గెయిన్ చేశాను ఈ ఎపిసోడ్ నుంచి ఇన్ మై కాన్వర్సేషన్ విత్ హిమ్. ఐఎమ్ 100% షూర్ దట్ ఎవ్రీ వన్ లిసనింగ్ ఇన్ షుడ్ సిట్ డౌన్ విత్ అ నోట్బుక్ అండ్ అ పెన్ to write down all the new things that you're going to learn from this episode. Listen into the entire episode and please leave in your feedback in the comment section, and I would love to see what you have to say about this. Hi, welcome to another episode of How Did You Make It? On today's episode, we have Mr. Srikanth with us, who's a co-founder of Hala Mobility. Hi, Srikanth.
Hi, Anusha.
Welcome to How Did You Make It?
Thank you for inviting me here.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. So usually I start asking about the company. This time I want to twist that a little bit and I want to understand about you because I've gotten feedback that you are a very interesting personality. So if you could tell us how your childhood has been like, how was it growing up, where did you do your education, and up until the point of when you founded Hala. From there we'll take it from the next question.
Alright. I am born brought up here in Hyderabad. I have finished my schooling around here in Dilshuk Nagar, and then my engineering also, post which I started working for Google Maps project and Facebook project, right?
Okay.
Further which when I realized, I need to, learn a little bit more, excel in my career, compete with the engineers of Facebook and all. So then my co-founder, who is with Hala, he pushed me like, you need to go out, you need to study. I moved abroad to do my master's. So I moved to Italy to do my first master's in big data machine learning. Second master's was in Spain. It was around telecommunication, and post which I also did my PhD there, urban case mobility. As a parallelly, I was also working with a startup there, and I was a chief data officer. From where I moved back and completely settled down, started Hala. As a child, I was more into music. Yes, I was a DJ, I was a music producer. I used to play around festivals like Sunburn, Supersonic, play around festivals in Europe like Boom, Shankara and all. It was a fantastic journey as a kid. And then, PhD changed everything. So mine is more of my journey, or, my startup is primarily coming from academic research, turning into a business, right? So it has got more validation than anything else.
Correct.
Yeah.
So being an entrepreneur, was it something that you've always dreamt of, or was it something that happened by accident?
Honestly, this is my third startup, I believe.
Oh wow.
Okay, it is my second, but yet I believe it's third.
Okay.
Because while I was doing my music and production and everything, I found a gap there, right? So we wanted to build something called a scene kya hai.
Okay.
It is primarily like you have weddings, you have birthdays, you have sangeets, whatnot, right? You have to look for a place, you have to look for artists, you look for decors and everything.
Yeah.
We wanted to bring them all together, merge with AR and VR stuff, wherein you just choose your location, you just choose the products, and then everything will align. You'll see how the venue looks like. So it's on a finger click, right? So but then I did not have skill set around AR VR, so I just skipped that. but it was killed it was failed at the ideation stage itself.
Okay.
Then later in Madrid, I was part of World Mobility. I was a core team member, chief data officer. Further which Hala happened.
How did the idea come for Hala?
If you look at my whole career, which I mentioned just now,
Yeah.
it is all around geospatial, the big data, right? So if you look at Hala also, Hala is primarily the geospatial information, the location information. How do I make this location feasible to all the customers, right? Okay, I may have utilized the geospatial information towards mobility,
Okay.
but primarily the whole idea is I've been working in the geospatial thing, like for the Google Maps project, for Facebook it is all about the business intelligence. And if you look at my masters, it was big data and then telecommunications.
Correct.
Talking to all satellites and all. So how and where do we fit all this expertise is to mobility. And working in the mobility sector across Europe and US, right, it gave me a broad understanding about how it looks. But then we see our mobility segment, how it is all fragmented, right? You have your public transit, you have your buses, taxis, autos, none of them are connected. But imagine if you can plan your whole trip just sitting at your home, right? Like say, I just want to go to this destination. What all steps do I have to take?
Correct.
If I say, Anusha, at 100 meters, there is one bike, pick that up, go drop it at this location. There's a bus coming in 10 minutes, go pick that bus. And then, you don't even need to pay. It's all going through the application. How does it look like, right?
Yeah.
So that's where we come from, right? And maybe we are too early into the market to adopt all these things. And it's a long journey for us to go.
Yeah.
So when we were thinking about implementing this solution, right, like it was primarily around how do I make it more sustainable, not with the petrol vehicles. So that's how it's electric. And then combined with this solution around public transit systems and the shared mobility platforms.
Fair. So for people who are listening in to understand you and the organization better, what does Hala Mobility do?
Okay. Right now, Hala does primarily the rental and leasing or financing of the vehicles.
Okay.
Right? If someone wants to buy an electric vehicle, it's super costly.
Yeah, it is.
1.5 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees almost. And we already have certain vehicle. Why do we want to replace that is someone will have in their mind, right? Only reason why people move towards electric vehicles is one, to cut down their cost.
Correct.
Two, if they're super environmentally cautious. Right?
Yeah.
And third one is if someone doesn't have a primary vehicle, he wants to move. But then for all these people, the cost of the vehicle is way too higher.
Yeah.
But then the movement is essential. Right?
Correct.
So what we try to do is instead of you spending that money, we spend that money and you just share the vehicle. You come rent the vehicle and go. We take care of your roadside assistance, maintenance of the vehicle, everything. So just like a typical rental service of your vehicle is what we do right now.
Okay.
But there is a long way for us. There are a lot of phases that you're divided into. Because as I said, the bigger vision of the Hala as a platform is to democratize the fragmented mobility space, right? So we want to bring entirety together and say, yes, I just need to enter my destination, I'll do everything. So for that to be achieved, I need everything to be converted electric. Today I have my metro electric, my vehicles as electric, and then slowly if I have other shared mobility providers that will come into electric, all this feasibility would happen.
How long, how further vision does it look like for you at this point?
See, at least given the electric vehicle ecosystem itself in India, it's in a very nascent stage, right? Only 1-2% has been converted, literally.
Correct.
Right? Out of 2.4 crore two-wheelers that are sold in India today,
Correct.
we totally, on an average, have like 2 million units or something by end of August sometime, right? So there's a still long way to go. And this market is growing at 47% CAGR. Right, and it's like one great industry to be in. And for this kind of segment, I would say it's going to take a decade, 2 decades, or 3 decades also to settle down. India also has this ambitious goals to convert everything by 2040, not anytime soon. So it's almost one decade, 1.5 decade that we still have. So there is still a lot of time for this particular industry to mature itself. And but essentially everything has to be moved towards EVs.
Correct. So currently Hala, what locations any locations are available on there and what are
Prastutaniki, what we did is so because again when we are trying to give something to the customers, accessibility, affordability undali.
Correct.
Affordability aithe we sorted out by electric vehicles ni ivvadam, but accessibility kuda undali kada. So we divided the whole city to 4 clusters.
Okay.
4 clusters lo mother hubs untai.
Okay.
These are like bigger hubs and ivi strategically chosen locations, not like anywhere random. So ekkadaithe manaki density ekku untundo, ekkadaithe user base ekku untundo, ekkadaithe demand patterns ekku unnai, ekkada usage patterns ekku unnayo,
Okay.
vaati base cheskoni we set up one hub.
Okay.
And here all the supply of the vehicles would come. Say,
Okay.
Patancheru nundi we have something coming in, like say that's a highway, right?
Correct.
We just deploy it across these mother hubs, and mother hubs chuttu there are darker stores, just like how you have Zepto's dark stores today.
Correct.
We got inspired from their model, and then we set up the darker stores. So ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే ఇక్కడ పిక్ చేసుకున్న వాళ్ళు పికింగ్ అయితే ఆ మదర్ హబ్స్ లోనే అవుతుంది, and then servicing అన్ని dark stores లో అవుతాయి. So the customers accessibility has increased.
Okay.
Today we are serving across Hyderabad. We are also in Mumbai, Pune, Vizag, Chennai.
Oh, wow,
Soon
okay.
we are going to start in Vijayawada, Bengaluru, and within next 18 months you'll see anywhere around 15 to 18,000 fleet.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful. So with respect to EV, right? Any electric vehicles, one inhibition everybody has is that అరే మధ్యలో ఛార్జింగ్ అయిపోతే ఏంటి, లేదంటే మనం ఎక్కువ లాంగర్ డిస్టెన్సెస్ వెళ్ళలేం కదా.
Right.
That's the biggest inhibition anybody has. How is Hala looking at it and how are you planning to overcome that?
Yeah, so I always believe in a collaborated ecosystem, right?
Correct.
Ikkada, I'll be alone, I'll try to do everything ante avadu. Bread nene desta, jam nene desta, dan meeda butter gun nene boosta ante avadu. So the way I look at it is go collaborative. There are a lot of players trying to solve each one in a different way, right? If I can bring all of those players into my platform,
Okay.
majority of your problem is solved, right? The way we did it is, today we have introduced rapid charging, which is 12 minutes your vehicle will be fully charged.
Wow.
You can go up to 100, 120 kilometers in a single charge. And then you have battery swapping, right? Every swap, it's a matter of 1-2 minutes to swap because there's a formality in between.
Correct.
And each swap will take you 90 kilometers. For this, once you book through Hala's platform, we'll guide you. ఎన్ని కిలోమీటర్స్ వెళ్ళగలుగుతుంది వెహికల్, ఎంత చార్జ్ ఉంది, ఎవ్రీథింగ్ విల్ బి ఏబుల్ టు గివ్ యూ ఆన్ ద డాష్బోర్డ్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్. అండ్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ విచ్ వన్స్ యూ హిట్ సర్టన్ పర్సెంటేజ్ విచ్ ఇస్ 20% టుడే, అక్కడ రాగానే వి త్రో యూ అలర్ట్స్, హే దెర్ ఇస్ విత్ ఇన్ నెక్స్ట్ 200 meters there is a battery swapping unit, go swap your battery which is suitable for your vehicle.
Okay.
So that's how we are able to do it. Today delivery partners who rent out vehicles from us, they are able to do anywhere around 200 kilometers easily every day. They run in 2 shifts. ఒకతను తీసుకుంటాడు ఇంట్లో, ఇద్దరు అన్న తమ్ములు, దే రన్ ద షో, అండ్ దే ఆర్ ఏబుల్ టు డూ బ్యాటరీ స్వాపింగ్. సో రేంజ్ యాంగ్జైటీ ఈస్ సంథింగ్ అ మిత్ దట్ వి క్రియేటెడ్ ఇన్ అవర్ హెడ్, బట్ ఇన్ ఫ్యాక్ట్ players like whoever we partnered with or players like Hala, we have beautifully solved that problem on the ground. Today, just like your fuel tanks, petrol bunks, we already have the swapping stations, we already have charging guns and charging sockets.
Okay.
So 3 of the varieties are available.
Okay, fair. I think, but also because it would, like you said, environment గురించి ఆలోచించిన వాళ్ళు, లేదా ప్రైమరీ వెహికల్ లేని వాళ్ళు, లేదంటే ఎకనామికల్ సెన్స్ లోని, ఈ 3 reasons వల్ల they would want to choose.
Right.
But at the end of the day, opportunity cost with respect to time is a little higher when you are consciously choosing an EV.
Right.
Correct? So how are you incentivizing people who are choosing Hala or choosing an EV?
If you look at it today, typically one of my target customer is a delivery boy.
Okay.
Because ఇప్పుడు generally who is roaming around 60 kilometers a day or 40-50 kilometers for your office commute, they may not be pretty much interested in what we are proposing.
Got it.
Right? Because the cost of the vehicle itself is higher. Then we have to give them the insurance, maintenance, roadside assistance, right?
Correct.
So all the cost added, it becomes heavier for us as well.
Okay.
So that cost will not attract a normal commuter. బట్ డెలివరీ బాయ్ ఏమవుతుందంటే అతను ఎవ్రీడే 120-150 kilometers తిరిగి అతను
Correct.
ఫ్యూయల్ ఫిల్ చేయించుకోవాలనుకుంటే ఎనీవేర్ యావరేజ్ 40 kilometers 50 kilometers యాక్టివా.
Yeah.
ఇప్పుడు అతను ఫుల్ డే చేయించుకోవాలంటే ఆల్మోస్ట్ 300-400 రూపీస్ ఫుల్ ట్యాంక్ చేంజ్.
Correct.
మంత్లీ ఇట్ ఇస్ 12,000 రూపీస్ ఎక్స్పెన్స్.
Correct.
మళ్ళీ దానికి ఇన్సూరెన్స్ వాడు మెయింటెనెన్స్ అయితే చేసుకోవాలి వెహికల్,
Yeah.
కపుల్ ఆఫ్ థౌసండ్స్ హియర్ అండ్ దేర్, 14,000-15,000 రూపీస్ అక్కడ వెళ్ళిపోయింది.
Yeah.
హీ మియర్లీ ఎర్న్స్ 25,000-30,000 రూపీస్.
Correct.
దీంట్లో సగం మనీ హీ స్పెండింగ్ ఆన్ కేపెక్స్, లైక్ ఆపెక్స్ ఆన్ దిస్ వెహికల్.
Yeah.
Then he is always looking for that smaller chunk save, right?
Correct.
Maybe that 7,000 will look like very small for us, but for him it's a huge amount, right?
Yeah.
And so today we are offering the full package comprehensive as 5,400 rupees,
Oh.
which is 14,000 rupees, cut it down to 5,400 rupees. So indirectly we are saving your cost just by switching. You don't need to own, You don't need to spend.
I feel like signing up for one vehicle myself.
Please.
It's going to save a lot of money.
Like if again, right now, given the situations, it is more favorable for people who roam a lot. So that's where we targeted more into the gig economy guys.
Yeah.
Where today we partner with the likes of Zomato, Zepto, Swiggy, Big Baskets, Amazons. Literally everyone we are there with, and we have like great manufacturers on board, great insurers on board. So all the risk is covered. All the business is being covered. So that's where it's kind of a full stack solution that we're able to give out to customers.
Sounds very, very convincing, to be very honest. So with respect to starting the idea and then actually putting it into motion, for a company like this, there would be a lot of investment that's required.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So how did you go about, looking for funding? How did you seek it? Who are those mentors or organizations that were instrumental in building this up?
See, fortunately, any startup, right, like the initial days low, the investment or the funding that you have put in is going to be super vital, right? And in an entity like us, it's a capital intensive business.
Yeah.
And for this, we ourselves as a founders, we invested a good amount of money, and then Tarvata, we grew. Like we started from a normal apartment. It was not like a crazy swanky place.
Yeah.
If you go today to Kondapur area, you'll see Aditya Hridayam. We started the show from the cellar. We started with like 2 vehicles on November 27, 2020. Just the day before we were in Goa, saying that I don't think we're gonna have this kind of a break anywhere soon, because once we start the show, I'm 100% sure we'll be stuck. So we were there, we were running the show. After like 2-3 vehicles, we started understanding the customer's pulse, and it was core peak pandemic at that point of a time.
Okay.
But then we could convert a lot of people into electric vehicles, and then we saw a lot of interest coming from these people, right? So we were all doing fantastically well. So it is kind of proven that we are pandemic proof. Right, deliveries will happen. So we started investing anywhere around good 2.5 crores in the initial stage. We bought in 200 vehicles with our money, because financiers were never trusting us, saying that, hey, this kind of a business model, we really don't know if it will work or no. So we took a bet, we invested, we started building the technology around it. So building the technology started from 2018 only.
Okay,
while I was doing the thing, it was just the vehicles that came in, just the market entry took a little while because of the incidents that happened, right? And by 2021, we touched the number of 450. By the time investors came in, it was March 2022.
Okay.
We raised $1 million there, and that was a seed round of funding. And from there, now we grew 400% times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right? And this year, we are again targeting another 400%. We should anywhere reach 17 to 18 crores of revenue this year.
That's wonderful.
And now we are going through again a pre-series A round. We have got great interest from the the VC circle and the PE circles.
Okay.
Primarily, where they are looking at is we kind of solve the technology piece. We kind of solve the operational efficiencies. We kind of solve the financial efficiencies, right?
Okay.
Because once you deal with a lot of assets, you have to get the cost of capital lower possible. That we have chopped it out. Technology is in-house. Operational efficiencies based on whatever we are trying to do, all the operations, we have put it in the technology so that we understand what's happening with the vehicle. So remotely, I know if you took the vehicle and if you're maybe say you're going around say Vanastalipuram somewhere in the other corner of the city, I literally know what exactly is happening with your vehicle. Not exactly the location. The location is one part of it, but I know if your throttle is good, your battery is good, your motor is good, controller is good. So before there is a issue, I get to know the alert, and most of the time we remotely fix it just by sending a command, because it's electric vehicle. Most of it's just like the electric pulses have to fix right, and if there is a physical damage or a warranty issue, then only you're supposed to come back to us.
Got it. Is it just 2-wheelers for now?
If you ask me, we are concentrating only on 2-wheelers, but we started with 3-wheelers as well.
Okay.
We are going to soon start pilots. The 3-wheelers and 4-wheelers are pilots only.
Okay.
So in 2-wheelers, again, e-bikes we have, mopeds we have, and scooters.
Okay.
So mopeds are primarily within the closed community, like say bigger campuses of ISB, Raheja, Phoenix, or campuses like the Gandhi Medical College. There is where this kind of vehicle works, and other ones are primarily for the delivery folks.
Correct.
And there are e-bicycles who would do primarily for the hyper local delivery.
Got it.
Yeah.
So are you, because you're saying that your target audience would be the delivery guys here, are you looking for, or already, like, have you already had corporate tie-ups?
Oh yeah, so we are in a very great, I mean, very almost at a closure kind of a conversations with a lot of corporates.
Okay.
Right. In terms of the deliveries, though, yes, we are today with Zomato's, all those names I mentioned, that we are already there. Right now, our also other target is the commuters. The corporates need to be converted, right? So for them, we are trying to get in touch with all these MNCs who can actually offer that to the employees, and thereby they become, ESG compliant.
Okay.
They become zero carbon emitted entity. Like say Raheja today, if you want to have a tea, everyone has to take their bike and go back to their campus, right? So instead of that, if you have smaller bicycle lanes within the campus, you are not polluting, it is not congested, it is not doing any harm.
Correct.
As simple as that.
So with respect to the vehicles that we're talking about, initial phase, like what was the biggest hurdle that you faced?
Oh, so
in addition to the funding and all of that, of course.
Yeah. So funding is one big challenge, but that's like the least that we need to worry about in any given point. Because when you're in the service industry, you need to be more keen towards how you're able to solve problem for your customer first.
Correct.
Then look at the funding.
Correct.
So in our case, see, one thing again, which we have learnt dealing into different segments, right? Say the delivery segment, they have seen the problem. Mobility, they have seen the problem. What we lack as Indians is the social responsibility that every one of us have to accept, right?
Correct.
So only once we have that kind of a responsibility, products or projects like us will be able to flourish.
Yeah.
Then else, you vandalize the product and then, do all nonsense around the vehicle.
Correct.
It makes, what fun do you get out of it, right? So it used to hurt us a lot. Like, hey, I'm actually trying to solve a problem, but people are taking us on a ride. So then later, it was more about the operational efficiencies, operational problems that we used to see. Like, we used to bring a brand new vehicle, and in a month's, 2 months' time, the vehicle used to come down for a breakage and everything. So for that, supply chain was a major problem. So majority of the supply chain comes from Delhi, Gujarat, right? So now the products to come back is like 15 days. And then to service them and move it another 5 days. So for any downtime, it's 20 days, one vehicle going down. So then we realized, we need to have the inventory pieces sorted. Then uske baad batteries. Batteries, if there is some issue that happens, then, either one, there is a chance of a thermal runaway, or the vehicle is down, just like that, dead silent. So again, we had to send it to Gujarat, Delhi to get it fixed. So it used to eat away around 20-25 days. So operationally, there was a lot of challenges. Again, as I say, mobility for us, how much of a technology we build, the ground ops have to go through. I need an army to run on the ground.
Fair. So initially, when you started, how did you identify that gap in the market? I know we're moving, but as like an immediate, in that instance, I am sure you also might not have been convinced that like this is something that I can immediately encash from. It is a long journey. What motivated you to actually sign up for it?
We essentially started Hala as a micro-mobility service provider, where you pick from your home, drop it to metro discount, like the bus ticket discount, and then again drop it back at your station, like free floating service, right? But then we had a lot of lessons that we learned from bounces of the world, euros of the world, right? Like how people used to just burn off the vehicle just for fun.
Yeah.
So it used to it used to sound like scary, but then they're like, somehow we need to get somewhere, else we're just thinking around it, right?
Correct.
But micro-mobility is a huge problem in India. That 3 to 5 kilometer journey is a major problem for us.
Yeah.
We either wait for an auto, like you have to discuss, negotiate the price with him, or wait for a cab. 10 minutes he'll take by the time you would have actually reached.
Correct.
Right? So these are like the typical problems where we actually identified and got into. But then the pandemic happened. The world has stopped. Now, do we have to wait for the pandemic to end? Or do we have to fine tune our solution saying that, pandemic kind of a situation vaste na business run avadu ani. So what we thought is, ippudu ee pandemic time lo evarku avasaram undi is the delivery boys who want. Every house needs something to be delivered, right? If you look at it, డెలివరీ ఇండస్ట్రీ పెరిగిందే పాండమిక్ వల్ల, రైట్? బికాస్ కన్వీనియన్స్ అన్నది క్రియేట్ అయింది. అప్పుడు ఏది కావాలన్నా సరే ఐ వాంట్ ఇట్ అట్ మై హోమ్. డెలివరీ, ఫుడ్, మెడిసిన్స్, యువర్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ గాట్ హోమ్. That particular industry grew, number of people in that industry grew, and so the vehicles are supposed to grow. right? So then what we thought is, okay, we have built a solution and it can be easily adapted here. It's primarily an extension of it. So why don't we do this? And that's how we try to took a pivot and we scale the numbers. So earlier we used to have delivery boys also with us. Delivery boys ని మేమే హైర్ చేస్తుండే, వాళ్ళకి ట్రైనింగ్ ఇస్తుండే, వాళ్ళకి వెహికల్ ఇస్తుండే. మేము ఈ పార్ట్నర్షిప్స్ తీసుకొచ్చేసి, ఓకే, యూ నీడ్ 100 people, we'll give you 100 people with vehicles and everything. But then what happened is we were moving more from a mobility company to a HR company. Managing people, managing their, how many orders did you do, how many payment we do. So then we thought of like, okay, there are people who are doing this delivery jobs, right? వాళ్ళతో పార్ట్నర్ అయిపోతే బెటర్ కదా ఇంకా.
Correct.
So వాళ్ళ దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళిపోయి we gave them the vehicles and then they are happy, we are happy. So there's no competition as such.
Correct.
So that's how we started penetrating more. And during the pandemic, if you look at it, there were two segments, like the frontline workers, like it can be the sample collection guys or the police or the doctors or the cleaning guys. They needed some sort of a mobility. There was no group mobility that was happening earlier.
Correct.
So what we did is, fortunately, that turned out to be a very great thing for us. At a zero cost, we got like exceptional views across India.
Okay.
And we partnered with police department.
Oh.
సో అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, ఆ టైంలో ఇంట్లో ఎవరు బయటికి రావద్దు అంటే దేర్ ఇస్ సమ్వన్ నీడ్స్ టు బి మానిటరింగ్, రైట్? సో ఇప్పుడు పోలీస్ సైరన్ వేసుకొని వెళ్తే అందరు ఇంట్లోకి వెళ్ళిపోతారు. సో వీ హ్యాడ్ ద స్మాల్ మోపెడ్స్, సో వీ గేవ్ ఇట్ టు ద పోలీస్ అండ్ పోలీస్ యూస్ టు డూ ద patrolling on it. And that became a sensation and we were in the limelight like that point of a time. And so we try to do all this crazy stuff now and then. And it got a lot of eyeballs. We try to be more active on what exactly is needed, because you already have an asset. దాన్ని మీరు ఎట్లా యూజ్ చేసుకుంటే అట్లా, సింపుల్ as that, right? You either use it for delivery, use it for mobility, whatever it is. You need to go or goods need to go.
Correct.
Simple as that. So that's where we were like, let it be. Let's ensure that the asset is good, maintained. ఎవరు ఎట్లా వచ్చినా సరే we'll try to provide them the solution.
Fair. Because you keep bringing the delivery guys are your target audience. What do the numbers look like? How many delivery guys are currently in Hyderabad?
Oh, just like Zomato, we have around 26,000 people working for Zomato. Swiggy are another, 15.
26,000 delivery guys for Zomato in Hyderabad.
Yeah, Swiggy has another 15-20,000 numbers. Uber, like the taxi, Rapido, Uber and Ola, these again would, not the cars, only two-wheelers I'm saying.
Two-wheelers,
These would be another 15-20,000 numbers. So if you look at it, just in Hyderabad, you need good 1 lakh number of units, 1 lakh to 1,20,000. Last mile mobility or last mile delivery itself is like, the contribution side చెప్తాను. Pollution contribution is 40% and people attrition ఉండేది almost 60-70%. Right? That means 100 people ఇప్పుడు జాయిన్ అయ్యారు అంటే 1 month తర్వాత ఓన్లీ 30 people 40 people ఉంటారు, మిగతా 60 people వెళ్ళిపోతారు. డెలివరీ సెగ్మెంట్, డెలివరీ, గిగ్ వర్క్స్ ఆర్ పీపుల్ మూవ్మెంట్ అన్నిట్లో ఏమవుతుందంటే, as I was saying, mindset has changed in India. People like earlier it was more like, hey, నాకు ఐటీ జాబ్ అయితేనే కావాలి, ఇదైతే అవసరం లేదు, ఇక్కడ చిన్న చూపు చూస్తారు. Right now people are like, that thing came in, equality towards working and respect towards any job it can be. So people now are like, okay, I started working in the morning, I started studying in the morning, so సాయంత్రం పూట వచ్చి నేను జాబ్ డెలివరీస్ చేసుకుంటా. And then maybe they will have free time in like 1 month break ekkado oka daggara, they'll start working, they'll make money and then they'll move. So it's they're making some pocket money for themselves, right?
Got it.
So this thing has started majorly in India. Okay. And that is something super interesting for them. ఇప్పుడు e-commerce penetrate అవుతుంది, డెలివరీ బాయ్స్ కావాలి, ఇట్లాంటి వాళ్ళు వస్తున్నారు పోతున్నారు. సో వీళ్ళు 100% వెహికల్ కొనుక్కోరు, because they are just doing for week or 2 days, 2 weeks or 1 month, right?
Correct.
So imagine now Amazon మొత్తం హైదరాబాద్ మొత్తానికి డెలివరీ చేస్తున్నారు, వాళ్ళకి ఇప్పుడు కావాలి ఎట్లయినా. సో ఈ పీపుల్ మారుతున్నారు కానీ వెహికల్ అయితే స్టేబుల్ ఉంది. యూ హైర్ పీపుల్ హూ డజంట్ ఈవెన్ హ్యావ్ ఎలక్ట్రిక్ వెహికల్స్. సో that's our proposition we give to the companies.
Do the companies also make any ప్రాఫిట్ ఆర్ లైక్ లెట్స్ సే బికాజ్ సిఎస్ఆర్ మీద ట్యాక్స్ ఎగ్జామ్షన్స్ అవి కూడా ఉంటాయి కదా. మనం
సిఎస్ఆర్ కంటే చూడకంటే ముందు ఎలక్ట్రిక్ వెహికల్స్ ఈ కనెక్టెడ్ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ తో ఏమొస్తుంది అంటే, సో ఓకే, వాట్ యు ఆస్క్డ్ వాజ్ లైక్ something that we majorly solve for the B2B guys.
Okay.
So now you are say Amazons of the world.
Okay.
And need delivery partners use చేస్తున్నారు. So what I say is Hala comes to you and says like, hey, Amazon, I'll give you 100 vehicles. You just hire, you just hire people who will who doesn't have any vehicle with them, right? We alongside give you all the APIs, the dashboards to see ఏ టైంలో మీ ఫ్లీట్ యూటిలైజ్ అవుతుంది, ఏ టైంలో ఫ్లీట్ యూటిలైజ్ అవ్వట్లేదు, ఏ ఏరియాలో ఛార్జింగ్ పెడుతున్నారు, ఏ ఏరియాలో బ్యాటరీస్ డౌన్ అవుతున్నాయి, all of them. Now what you do, you hire more number of people because every week only 6 people will work. 7th day everyone is on off. So that means you have loss of 1/7 people.
Correct.
అక్కడ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత మార్నింగ్ 4 o'clock నుండి 7 o'clock దాకా majority of your business is not running. Right? So our time low, I'll be able to cross utilize your asset and give it to some milk delivery, paper delivery guy. Right? So now your cost has been reduced. The delivery boy cost is already reduced because it has been shared with someone else.
Okay.
Right? And now Miku, you know how many orders are going and how many orders are being delivered on true time.
Yeah.
Your cost per delivery has reduced first and foremost because it is electric.
Yeah.
And the number of orders delivered per day also increased because you're monitoring it on a regular basis. So 1, your utilization factor increased. 2, your cost has been reduced. So that's how a proposition for B2B businesses work.
And a very interesting proposition. You're solving a lot of problems here because ఇప్పుడు 20,000 15,000 శాలరీకి పనిచేస్తున్న వాళ్ళ దగ్గర టు స్టార్ట్ ఆఫ్ విత్ దే మైట్ నాట్ హ్యావ్ అ 2-wheeler వెన్ దే ఆర్ అ ఫ్రెషర్, దే స్టార్టింగ్ విత్ జాబ్ అండ్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దాట్, అండ్ దే ఆర్ లిటిల్ ఫిజికలీ లైక్ దే ఆర్ ఇంటెన్సివ్, దే హ్యావ్ టు మూవ్ అరౌండ్ అ లాట్. సో ఐ థింక్ దేర్ ఈస్ a gap that you're actually catering to, which is wonderful. I did not think of this angle when I started interacting with you. So with respect to the 1 lakh people that I delivery people here, you said that you are already catering to 60% of the market share, but you only have 2,500 vehicles.
Say there are like 4-5 people of us like who are competing in the space.
Okay.
And out of which the total number of fleet we have 60% amongst all of us.
Are you planning to increase the?
Oh yeah. This year we're gonna be increasing to 5,300, and within next 18 months we should have 15 to 18,000 in 7 cities. We also have global plans. We started, looking at Indonesian market, the African market, and also Cyprus recently. So, how do we get our made in India products for the globe? So that's how we are now looking for the European market access, Africa and Indonesia. That's how we'll be present across the globe.
Fair. Right now you're looking at only rentals, right?
Right now it's only rental, subscription or leasing. Rentals is primarily a week, 1 month or something. Leasing is primarily for 6 months odd. Subscription is something where you subscribe for vehicle plus value-added services.
Okay, fair. Are you eventually also might want to think about selling vehicles as well?
Why not? So
can see-
when you sell, it's primarily a lead that is going to be given to the financier or the dealer. So if you want to buy the vehicle on finance, how it works is Anusha now picked the vehicle from my platform for a week's time. Week's time tarvata, while your journey is happening, you have the charging, swapping, battery servicing, everything happens. Week tarvata you give back the vehicle. Week tarvata ragane you'll get a pop-up message saying that hey Anusha, why don't you just buy it? I have so many offers for you. So the 24 months, 36 months, 48 months I'm going to give you some offers, and you can go and avail with this financial. You either use it, how am I going to give it based on your usage pattern? Ekkada use chesa, ela use chesa, how did you use it, and is it really worth it for you?
Okay.
So all those parameters. Okasara adi understanding vachin tarvata, then we essentially move to buyback opportunity. ఇప్పుడు అనుష ఆ బండి కొనేసుకుంది నేను చెప్పిన ఆప్షన్ ప్రకారం.
Okay.
ఇప్పుడు 2 years 3 years తర్వాత నీ బ్యాటరీ ఏదో ఒకటి అయితే రిఫర్బిష్ చేయాలి.
Correct.
అప్పుడు ఐ విల్ కమ్ బ్యాక్ అండ్ సే హే అనుష, థ్యాంక్స్ ఫర్ యూజింగ్ ద వెహికల్ ఫర్ 2 years. నాకు బ్యాటరీ ఇచ్చేస్తాను, నీకు 40% వెహికల్ 40% ఆఫ్ ద కాస్ట్ నీకు ఇచ్చేస్తాను. నౌ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్స్ ఇస్ కస్టమర్ ఆల్రెడీ గాట్ 40% బ్యాక్ on the vehicle that he used for 2 years 3 years.
Correct.
Now he can use that 40% to replenish his battery pack. And now the vehicle is still running.
Very wonderful. There's a lot of depth.
So it's like a circular economy. You look at it like a bigger picture. Just step out and then see like a circular economy.
Yeah.
Vehicle tayarainappudu nundi chanipoyedaka I have the complete connectivity. So now there's no wastage on the ground.
Correct. 10 years life ఉంది అనుకుందాం ఒక ఈవీ వెహికల్. ఈ 10 years లో ఈవీ వెహికల్ వాడితే హౌ మచ్ మనీ ఈజ్ అ కామనర్ సేవింగ్?
It depends. I mean, truly and truly depends on number of kilometers, the distance, and everything, right?
Okay.
But anywhere average 25% at 100% save chestadu.
Okay.
On top of it, just as an example that I gave you, if it's a delivery guy, given if he uses only for 2 years, he still will be saving almost 60%. It depends on how many kilometers you travel. On a very base level, 25-30% is like eyes closed. Yeah.
With that, we can buy 3 more electric vehicles.
అది తీసుకొచ్చి హాలాకి ట్రై చేయొచ్చు, మేమే మీకు మళ్ళీ రిటర్న్ మనీ పే చేస్తాం మంత్లీ.
But that is also possible.
Yeah, like so what we started doing is micro entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Where ఇప్పుడు everyone has got money, everyone is looking at, rather than working 9 to 5, I'll start working on job, or I'll try to take some franchisee, set this up and all, right?
Correct.
So we encourage any sorts of 10 lakh rupees investment, right? You don't invest money into us, you invest vehicles into us. Just like Uber, you buy a car, get a driver and then attach it to Uber. Uber lo demand vachinatlu utilization vastundi, money vastudi. The same way you buy the vehicles and onboard it to Hala. Hala would then create the demand and give it to you month on month. Whatever amount you get it, and then you just take a 3 or 4% cut.
How are you managing to do so many things?
We are 78 members. We are a team of 78 members. This year we are going to go anywhere around 150 people, and this is in 27 months.
Like you said, you've when you were talking about funding, right? And you've resolved a lot of technological issues that might come up, or with operational issues that might come up in such small amount of time. How were you able to resolve so many things?
That's the startup world. That's the startup world. Because for us decision making is quicker. We're not corporates, we're not MNCs to get the approval chain. You go to your boss, that boss goes to a VP, that guy goes to a director, that guy goes to a CEO. And here it is more like a startup. You experiment, works out, win. If it is not working out, close. So that's how we do. Anything it is, ship your product quicker. So నేను ఇక్కడ చేస్తుంది ఏమీ లేదు, the same application, same vehicle, but I'm trying to offer in different ways, because for me the vehicle has to be utilized no matter what.
Correct.
So ఉన్న ఒక వెహికల్ నేను 10 రకాలుగా యూటిలైజ్ చేసుకున్నా, ఇట్స్ వెరీ గుడ్, రైట్?
It clearly looks like you've explored every possibility to use that vehicle, use the parts of the vehicle also. Delve into entrepreneurship as a topic, because a lot of people listening in are those who would want to start their own business, entrepreneurs avadam anukuntunna vallu unnaru, irrespective of the age group that they fall into. So for them, what is your advice?
Okay, first and foremost, entrepreneurial journey is like a super lonely journey, right? That's gonna be, and it's a roller coaster. You go through, oka roju you'll feel all happiness in the world, and suddenly next day you're like crying. Right? So you'll have all those crests and troughs. The things will be super hard. The only thing that you need to do is find someone, talk to them, right? I've seen a lot of people who actually got into because once you get into your product, it is kind of a baby, you're nurturing it, right? Correct. So once things doesn't go through, you go into a lot of stress, anxiety issues, you'll all sort of. So you always have a conversation with fellow co-founders. Go be active with the ecosystem. Thereby, your mindset changes. First and foremost is that is important. And then later on, all your work can always happen. Something that I did not do is this, right? I used to just bombard myself with work. Because we were a group of friends, we started it, and then we used to stay in the same flat. We used to work down, and then it's a duplex apartment. So morning 8 o'clock we start, 11-12 we end, and then sleep, and then work, and then sleep, and then work. This was only the thing. But at least I had certain people who are there. Right? So that guidance is something that is needed. So super important to be active with the ecosystem to change their mindset. Number 2, whatever ideas we may have, get it executed. Ideas without execution are like nothing, right? And that's where today we are able to do so many number of things, is because we get an idea, we think it is validated, or it is workable, then we just try to do simple project on it, like simple MVP on it, and then once it works out, push it. So the testing phase also starts with my employees. So once it is working out, then let's try to push it out to the customers. So that churn has to go through. Newer business models have to evolve, and any sorts of improvements you have to do. It's not just on your operational side of it, but also get in a lot of digital transformation into your business. then your whole journey becomes super seamless. Right? As long as you are sitting on your Excel and everything, it's very good for your very small period. But as you scale up, this becomes a lot of bigger problem. And over and above, if you ask me, put your systems first, processes first, combine them all together, make it very solid so that you as a founder would think at a scalability of the product rather than looking at the internal loss. This is something that I could not do for a long time. And it's a great lesson that I've learned ki systems and process have to be set like aggressively well.
Okay.
And now, given the IQ, EQ, there is also GQ, which is governance quotient.
Okay.
How well your company is, what exactly your company is doing, how good the ethics values you are following for your company, like the compliances, taxes, regulatories, legislative, legalities, all these have to be followed well. And then the GQ comes into picture. So, just don't be in that rat race, rather be conscious. Valuations are nothing. Valuation is just on the paper.
Yeah.
It's your actual business where you need to be able to see at least, okay, after 6 months, I'm going to see profitability. Simple as that. This valuation ke chakkar mein gaya, then everything is gone at a toss. This growth at any cost is going to, we're going to see some good outcomes out of that model, right? So with a very limited fund, you're able to do a lot of things. With 1.5 crore, we did 1.5 mil, we did so much. So that means you understand, if you're just a platform-based entity, then with 1.5 million, you can do wonders.
Fair. So if somebody wants to start something and they're a little clueless, next 5-10 years loni a industry lo invest cheste, people can actually make it big.
So investment in terms of money, I would not be the right person to do it. But investment in terms of the knowledge to acquire is something where I see is AI. AI is going to take away everything. And on top of it, you also see there is a cyber security that is going to, because we are moving into a data world. So security is going to be a role that is going to be super important. How much ever you try to do some sort of a vulnerability assessment or security assessment that is needed, there need to be people who are actually doing day in, day out around the data flows, workflows and everything. And then the world is all towards the data. So data centered architectures, how quickly you will be able to access data and how well you can structure the data. So those are some areas that you can keenly look into.
Interesting. Are you, as like in Hala, are you exploring with AI?
Oh, so there's a lot of AI that we have already placed. Right? How do I rate you? So if there are two people, one is a good driver who uses the vehicle well, another guy is actually abusing the vehicle. I should actually give the vehicle to the right person, right? So how do I judge it? So there is a scoring mechanism. How many times you're accelerating, harshly accelerating, sharply cornering, harshly braking. All these parameters are actually taken into consideration. You may again ask me like, Srikanth, but that is kind of intruding into the privacy, but we never tag a person's name towards the vehicle movement. We track the object, not the person. So even if you look at my KYC, I don't save anything on my server. It is all going through the DigiLocker, which is a government's thing. So it is just, I ask them, is it correct or no? They say yes or no, and then I just say like, okay, good. So privacy side, everything is ensured.
We'll move a little away from Hala and talk a little bit about you. With respect to your entrepreneurial journey, what was your biggest learning?
So, as a startup founder, every day is a learning, all right. Like, here, one important thing that we need to keep in head is like, we do some sort of a nonsense activity in the company because there is no hierarchy as such, right? So you try to deviate a little bit and then take a aggressive step. During this time, what we lose path is we only concentrate on the business, but we don't look at the compliances pieces, the legalities aspects, and that's going to cost us a lot. And sometimes it's going to shut the whole entity itself. Your product might be great, your business might be great, but then you have missed the GQ, which is the governance quotient that I mentioned, right? If that piece is missed, and everything is at a toss. So that is something that I've learned, and now, at least last year, before my fundraise, I have to run every corner, go to every court possible. I mean, not because of there is a case against us or something. It is just like, getting the formalities done. We literally spent 4 months to just get things into place. Because we were only concentrating on the business, people, customers, technology. But where is this? So from the beginning itself, you need to have that understanding right, and then you also need to have your right co-founders.
Did you receive any help from accelerators?
Oh yeah, we were incubated at T Hub for the Lab 32 program. From our MVP, they structured it as more into a corporate structure for us.
Okay.
And from there, we moved into T Angels program again in T Hub. That is where we have raised our first $1 million check.
Oh wow.
And we also have got access to showcasing at Dubai, showcasing it in Japan, showcasing it in Cyprus. We also got top 11 sustainable startups of Telangana award, and but like I was invited to talk at a TEDx show. A lot of things happened. A lot of support we got. In fact, we are also supported by Mercedes-Benz. We have got a grant of $25,000, and then there is Maruti Suzuki who incubated us. We are now building solutions for them in Gurgaon, Manesar, and Gurgaon, Manesar. There's another location that is in the north. And then Magnific is our first round of funding investors. Like that, we did like some crazy stuff.
This is so like just when I'm talking to you, I see that the vision that you have for the company and how you're going to so easily you're going to reach there. I am 100% sure on that. But I think this is it from my end. I have a lot of other questions, but I'm going to keep it crisp and short. But maybe
we'll do it a second episode later.
We'll do that, a done deal.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for coming over. Do you have any parting thoughts?
If someone can get certain takeaway from this,
Absolutely.
very happy to, it will be a happy moment for me.
I at least had 50 takeaways from the session. I am 100% sure whoever is listening in would have so much to learn. I would suggest people like sit with a notebook and pen. I think I will go back and listen and I'll still find 2-3 new things. So thank you so much for coming over.
Thank you, Anusha, for inviting.